Okay, just want to do a quick video. In this video, I'm going to talk about um, the fusion of self-esteem and spirituality. Now, what does your self-esteem have to do with your spirituality? Now, in the information laid out by True Master, we deal a lot with in the previous video, we were talking about principles. And we were talking about how principles correspond to the Hermetic notion of the seven spheres, or the influence of the seven spheres. When the soul descends into matter, according to Hermetic tradition, the soul comes down, and in the process of being encased in a body, it's encased in the energies of the seven spheres. And the seven spheres, or the energy of the seven spheres, they influence the body, not the soul. So you still have free will or choices or whatever case may be, but the body itself, according to Hermetic tradition, is influenced by the seven spheres. Now, according to certain literature, certain core astrological literature, basically what he talks about the seven spheres, he's not talking about the seven literal rocks in the sky. He's talking about, they're talking about the fields that exist. If you blew up the planet Mars, it wouldn't stop action on the Earth. It's legends about how the moon wasn't always there. It's legends about how the moon is artificial. There are no valleys or fissures in the moon. It's just little neat craters, as if there's some sort of outer shell on the moon and stuff like that. They say the moon is hollow, all kind of things of this nature. There's stories about how the planet Venus wasn't always there. They say the planet Venus is a broken off piece of the planet Jupiter and stuff like that. That's why Jupiter and Venus are considered the benefic planets. They're considered to be they're paired together in a sense. So the physical rocks in the sky may change, or they may not have always been there, or whatever. But these categories, these seven categories, are consistent as far as seven areas of life, meaning like Mercury, communication; Mars, action; Venus, love, relationships, that type thing. So according to that, these seven areas of life are consistent. So as well as far as True Master is concerned, one aspect of it is the external perspective, that we are swimming in a sea of frequencies that and not all of those frequencies fit in the electromagnetic spectrum. Some of those frequencies are what can be considered as longitudinal waves, or what some people call scalar waves, torsional waves, what have you. All my quantum physicist people don't beat me up about that. All of these frequencies that affect us are not a part of the traditional electromagnetic spectrum. Some of them are outside of the electromagnetic spectrum. Let me see here. George Lakowski, he was saying that cosmic waves influence human behavior. I think Tesla may have mentioned something like that. I know John Keeley, he talks about it. He talks about sympathetic oscillation, and how the frequencies and the vibrations of things, of fields outside of us or whatever, actually affect us, because as human beings, we're basically walking antennas that send and receive frequencies constantly. So with all that being said, these seven areas of life, as in the seven spheres mentioned by astrology, there are also seven areas within the human psyche. So they parallel externally as actual fields that influence us. The brother Ross Ben, in his book Rocks of Ages, I'm quoting books. Ross Ben, in his book Rocks of Ages, he talks about a lot of these gemstones, such as your quartz, your malachite, your lapis lazuli, and stuff like that. They actually absorb the higher frequencies that are not a part of the electromagnetic spectrum. So when we get into sympathetic magic and we start talking about stones and herbs and stuff like that, if you Google the magical properties of various herbs or stones or what have you, they're going to come up with actual things that they do. You know what I'm saying? Events that they influence and everything like that, in various different categories and everything like that. Similar to how what we talk about patterns. You see what I'm saying? the experiential, it has a component of it where you can use natural phenomena, patterns as we call it, to divine, you know what I'm saying, as a method of divination without any type of cards or anything like that, or whatever. In ancient Rome and in ancient Africa, ancient Rome, they called it augury. You know what I'm saying? That was a term used for that. So it's actually a word for it. Omenology, different things like that. They're called omens, different things of that nature, or whatever. They would use that. So it has a component of that to it. The rationale behind that, coming back to the point, is that you live inside of your mind. So that's why you can look at how birds are flying and the formation of the birds flying, because that was an aspect of augury. You see that form of divination. They look at the patterns of birds, the entrails of animals, mundane events and things like that, mundane situations and what have you, and they would extract some divinatory information out of that. Our logic behind the reason why that's even possible is because the external world is a reflection of your subconscious mind. So as we say in True Master, you live inside of your mind. So when you see people in your experience, they exist within your field. You see what I'm saying? Your field of awareness and everything like that. So you can have relationships to these various principles, as we're calling it. You see what I'm saying? And if you have an imbalanced relationship with one of these principles, you'll get bad outcomes and events and happenings, the language of situations in your life. If you have a balanced relationship with these principles, you will have good outcomes, situations, the language of situations, patterns in your life. But so you have relationships with principles, relationships with actual people in your life, which are representative of relationships with principles. And you also have the most important relationship that you can have is your relationship with yourself, because your relationship, everything else is predicated off of your relationship with yourself. So this is the crux of your mental health. Your relationship with yourself is the crux of your mental health. So if your relationship with yourself is the crux of your mental health and you live inside of your mind, you do the math. So that's why your spirituality and your self-esteem is basically intrinsically linked within this is what we're talking about, True Master. So I just wanted to kind of lay that down. I don't know if in previous videos we kind of went into that, but yeah, in this, your self-esteem is fused with your spirituality. So thanks for listening. Peace.